I'm going to speak a little bit about the Office of Commissioner, just to provide a that these candidates are seeking. I'm going to actually step off screen so that you can read that if you want. But I just want to provide a little bit of information. So county commissioners are required to represent geographic diversity within the county. The county is divided into 3 districts. And each of those 3 districts, while the candidates reside in a specific district, the voters elect those candidates countywide. So if you are a registered voter in Owen County, then you would be voting for a candidate from each district during the general election in November. So don't worry about where you reside. If you are a voter, you are going to be voting for each of the districts that will be on the ballot. In 2020, there are a variety of candidates that are vying for the opportunity to be commissioner. And I'm going to show on screen who those candidates are. So for District 2, we have 3 Republicans and 2 Democratic candidates. Participating in tonight's forum from District 2 is Angela Frank, Mike Swafford, and Tony Booker. From District 3, which I'm having a hard time pulling up at the moment, we also have 3 Republican and 2 Democratic candidates who are running for election. I apologize that they're not on screen, but participating in Rick Shunk. And then a little bit about the format this evening. And I know all this is boring, but I do want to make sure that everyone knows that we are trying to be as fair as we possibly can be. I want to just note that the purpose of this evening is very much to provide an opportunity for the candidates to hear, for the voters to hear from the candidates. Sorry about that. On a variety of Owen County issues. So this is not a debate, and I just want to make clear that the candidates are not going to have any direct interaction as well. So we won't be taking any audience questions this evening. The questions were submitted by the public in advance of over a wide variety of questions from throughout the county. That was originally part of the plan when we were going to do this in person. And I'm highly appreciative now that it's a virtual event that's how we decided to do it, because the less talking over one another that we attempt to do, the better it will be. No one has been provided with any of the questions outside of 2 Spencer Pride directors, of which I'm one of them. And we're going to start the forum and throughout the entire forum, I will be introducing all of the candidates or asking the candidates questions in alphabetical order by last name. So there's no bias there about party, the last name that individuals got when they were born. Once we do the introductions, then we will go into that question and answer time. So we'll also put the question on screen in the same way that you see the information on the screen now. So it will appear there, and that will be very beneficial later in the recording, as this is being recorded, and we expect a fair amount of people will be looking at this online, and that'll make it clear for them to understand if they skim to the candidates, again, in alphabetical order. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to provide an answer, and then I will let them know when their time is up. The next candidate in the queue. And then once we have gone through all of those, we'll move on to the next question. And depending on how fast and how fast we go through that, certainly we may have fewer or more questions this evening, and I'm prepared with a large list that was submitted online. 20, and we wrapped up whatever that most recent question is, then we'll go ahead and wrap up the question and answer session, and then I will give the opportunity for each candidate who will adjourn. So we will definitely be done on time this evening. All right. We'll go right into our first question. Find that for us.
Is Jonathan, is it introduction time?
Wow, right. That's really cool. So thank you, Janet. So Janet Rummel, that Janet, and I appreciate her very much. So yes, so let's go ahead and do the questions. I will get off screen whenever possible, and you could start us off. That would be fantastic.
How we doing? I'd like to say, first of all, they said this camera adds about 10 pounds, so no judging there. A little quarantine weight, just kidding. Just want to say thanks for still having this today. Obviously, this virus has set us back quite a bit, being able to get out there and talk to folks and being able to campaign. I'm 30 years old. I live on my family farm. I've been around here for a very, very long time. What got me involved in this is the events of the past 4 years, the downtown event, the negative news stories. Before that, the Angie Lawson, the Donnie Minnick, things of that nature. I just really couldn't sit back anymore. Just kind of out here to stand up for what I believe in. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And we'll go ahead and go to Angela.
I'm Angie Frank, and I am running for, I want to talk about some of my views on things, so hopefully they come up tonight in some of the questions. I'm excited to do this as well and get an opportunity for people in the county to hear not only myself, but all the candidates. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. We'll go ahead and go to Rick.
So I've been to the meetings. Changes. I shouldn't be arguing at the meetings. And that's about all. I'd like to see some changes done, and
we'll go ahead and go to Mike next.
And I've continued to live in the county for most of my life. I'm a retired law enforcement officer, officer. I retired at the end of 2014 at the rank of First Sergeant and the title of Assistant District Commander. Held the position. I'd make an excellent liaison to the Sheriff's Office, the EMS, and the emergency management. Part of my administrative duties as an officer was to manage purchasing for the district. So I had to learn the state purchasing rules and regulations, which are similar to the ones the county. Example, some of those rules pertain to quantity purchase agreements, contract bidding, minorities concerning contracts, and emergency purchasing. So there's a lot about, and I'm pretty familiar with those. So I think some of the things I did as a law enforcement officer will certainly come in handy if I'm elected. Also look at the events ordinances. I mean, it's a big issue for a lot of people in the community, especially things that concern the fees and the fines and the violations. And I don't mean just open the doors to the courthouse, but I think we should invite people. We should partner with our schools, and we should invite kids to come to the courthouse. And I think those things will promote some civic pride. And I think the more interaction we can have with our youth, the better chance they have at learning the importance of the voting process and how important that is. So, and another thing, I think our county, we have to really become environmentally strong. And we can do that through some recycling and offering some low cost trash removal. I think we have to get back into that business again. So that project, if I can get elected. So I'd appreciate everyone's support and hopefully serve as your next county commissioner. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Appreciate you having this, Jonathan, and your organization. I think it's a good opportunity for us for this election, especially concerning the unique situation we find ourselves in the community. I am Tony Volker. I'm running for Commissioner District 2. I held that position. I was elected in 2012 and held that position for 4 years. During that 4 years, the commissioners prior to my taking office had built 2 bridges in 6 years. By the time I left office at the end of my 4th term, I think we were just completing our 14th bridge. We also had to add on to the to do that without costing the taxpayer a penny. That was almost $500,000. And then I was very proud of the fact that I supported upgrading our ambulances to 4-wheel drive vehicles and several other upgrades for the county. In addition to that, I'm the one who brainchild and put together but the program that the Highway Garage uses now in order to qualify for the community crossings money. And that's brought several $1 million into the county for our roads. So I've got a lot of other ideas that I would like to put forward. I wasn't going to run for commissioner, but when I saw the animosity and the constant it was time to put my name back in the hat. We can do better than that. We can treat each other respectfully, even when we disagree. So I would appreciate your consideration. If you have any questions, you can go to Tony Volker for Commissioner on Facebook, and my phone number is posted there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. So we will go ahead and get right into the questions then. And we will start off with the first one here. So Kimberly from Cuba specifically says, why do you want them? But this will give you an opportunity. Like at 2 minutes, and we were interacting around the first question, but we'll first go ahead and give you a minute to introduce yourself, and then we'll get right into the first question.
All right, I'm Terry Henderson, Senior. I'm running for commissioner, trying to make Owen County sweet again. I worked for the county highway many times. I am your huckleberry. That's all people need to know about me. I'm the guy for the job.
All right.
Welcome.
Thank you. So we will again go right into that first question. So Kim from Cuba says, why do you want to be commissioner? And Jared.
Yeah, so being a commissioner is something I've wanted to do since I was a child. I've always gotten into local news, politics. I've always cared deeply about my community. I grew up around Mark Rubel and George Jennings. Just something I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to get involved in this way. So that's about it. Thank you.
All right.
So one of the reasons I want to be commissioner is just being in at an office already. I've seen things going on recently. And I just didn't like what was happening. I never seen myself running for commissioner, but nonetheless, I'm here. A place to live and raise your family.
Thank you. And Terry, we'll go ahead and go to you. So, you'll always be the person to follow Angela, just so that you know. So I'll go ahead and respond. Why do you want to be commissioner?
I want to fix Owen County. I'm tired of the corruptness. There's been a lot of corruptness in this county. I'm ready to change that. I'm the one to do it.
All right. And we'll go ahead and go to Rick. Rick, why do you want to be commissioner?
I basically know what's going on there, but with the arguing and bickering and not allowing people to speak in the meeting, everybody should have their own voice here in Owen County. It shouldn't be up to the commissioner to tell them not to speak at meetings. I'd like to make that change. I drive the county roads all the time. I see what's not right out there, and I have called in numerous roads in the last couple of years to get replaced, get fixed. But that's the reason I'd like to run for commissioners, just to see a change here.
And Mike, why do you want to run for commissioner? So Mike, you are on mute. You might need to accept the unmute. We're working on that. There you go.
Okay, I've spent most of my adult life in public service, and I just really enjoy the opportunities that it presents to interact with people and to serve with the community. I spoke earlier about looking at community. I think that's an important issue for people. And the event ordinance that I talked about earlier, again, I've had some interaction with county employees as well, and I know the employee handbook, for instance, hasn't. There's a lot of things that happen with our county employees that probably is unfair and unjust, and they need to be able to have people that come to fear of repercussion. So those are some things that I'd like to look at as well if I'm elected. And you know, we talk among the officials, and you know, I'm not much of a road builder. I don't know how to build roads, but I do know how to build bridges. So that's something that I really want to try and look forward to doing, and you know, that can be refreshing for the office. I do that, and part of it is through civic pride. You know, bring people to the courthouse, and we have to be able to as we have to accept public input, and we've got to do our best. And you know, mistakes are going to be made, and when we make them, we have to think that the mistake only remains a mistake when we fail to correct it. So those are some of the things that you know, are really driving.
Why do you want to be a commissioner?
Okay, great. Thank you for the question. I did mention a few of those things early on. I think it's enjoyable to me to try and tackle the county's problems and find creative solutions. I mentioned being able to remodel the courtroom and adding the other buildings without costing the county money. That's important to me, to find creative ways to do it and keep the costs low. A couple of the other things that I didn't mention yet, roads were all the program that I was responsible for was what enabled us to get the several $1 million so far that we've got on the community grants program. And by the way, get that at the time, I went down on my own dime to Salem to attend the meeting, and got a lot of pushback from the other commissioners at the time. They didn't think we would be able to. A couple other things I want to tackle is rural internet. The commissioners themselves can't change this law, but I have petitioned our state representatives, both Senate and representatives, to get these laws changed. A lot of people don't realize on internet, certain utility companies have areas locked out. For instance, my area refused to develop it for high-speed internet, and it locks everybody else out of the community. And we live in a day and age that we've got to have high-speed internet. So I'm working hard to get that overturned. Status from companies, if they refuse to develop it, that they will have the plug pulled on them, and it'll be opened up to competition. The other thing I want to continue to work on, when I first 9th in the state in terms of income for our folks, we're now at 61%, or 61st rather. In the state, out of Bushwick County, if they want to stay, just to find employment, to be able to raise a family. And then the third thing I really want to push for is getting the activities back down to the courthouse for the square. The square, the courthouse square, is like the hub of our community, and we need to make it every opportunity for any organization that are members of our community to be able to use the courthouse lawn. And and I understand the ordinance that was passed, it doesn't restrict them from using it, but there's a few things in there that I think we need to modify slightly. I do think it's a good idea, though, to do the walkthrough. We need to deposit just to make sure that if there's any damaged property, the organizations that are holding that event have to, you know, their liability insurance has to pay for that. Any other questions that you might have for me, or if you'd like further information, since this is a timed response, please feel free to contact me either on Facebook, Messenger, or on my telephone number. Thank you.
All right. They are going to continue getting better about making sure that everyone's unmuted. And I just want to remind folks about trying to keep it within 2 minutes. I know it's hard enough, but keep in mind that a lot of the topics that are coming up are also potential future questions. So you know, you might have that opportunity to still be able to speak on a future question about that subject. So we'll go ahead and go on to the next question then. And this particular question is coming from Angela and Spencer. Let me just get it pulled up here. So specifically, to help better prepare our county for a future pandemic or for the resurgence of COVID-19. So Angela, we will go to you first. I'm sorry, Jared, we will go to you first on that. Jared, how can we better prepare our county for a future pandemic?
But obviously it's something that we need to pay some attention to with this pandemic going on. We need to probably, instead of having just a few people, a team of people, just for preparedness, making sure we have plenty of stuff to go around, protect our county and our community. Obviously, plenty to be better prepared for a unique situation like this. Thank you.
Thank you. And prepare our county for a future pandemic.
One of the many things that we need to do is we need to have departments working with the EMA director needs to communicate well with all that have any involvement, and also with the health officer of the county. We need to have a huge stockpile of items that do not expire. Now, every item that we need, we can't keep on hand all the time because of the expiration dates of them, but we do need we just need to work closely together. It is a really scary thing right now. As the coroner, I can tell you, so we just need to continue doing that. And I also think that sorry.
Okay. Were you going to add something else?
I will. I wish you'd shut up.
Okay.
That'll be good for right now. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. So give it over to Terry. So if you could just pause and make sure that we give you a chance to get unmuted here. You may need to accept that, but we'll give it just a second. All right, unmuted Terry. So what can we do to prepare for a future
Well, we have the best. I mean, we have Homeland Security. It's all federal. Federal money is going to be states, counties. First off, build this pandemic. We have drugs, needles running around, kids dropping them, meth heads running around. We need to build a jail. That's the best.
Thank you for that. And we will pivot to Rick then.
I don't know if you could hear me or not. Okay, what we should do is the people in this county should take this pandemic a little bit more seriously than a lot of people did. I mean, there was a lot of people at Walmart and a lot of people going into stores, and they should take it a little bit more seriously. They do need more supplies, some N95 masks, gloves, and stuff like that. And people being at home and the looting that's going on, all that stuff's got to stop. People just got to take this as serious, like our governor did, and like President.
All right, perfect. Thank you. And then we'll move over to Mike. Mike, how can we better prepare for a pandemic?
Yeah, that is a great question. And I think safety and security is should be our top priority here in the county, and that includes our health department as well. So the training that's necessary to combat these types of things. This is something that we really didn't see coming. So to be able to prepare for those things, being proactive is so much better than being reactive. So to make sure that our sheriff's department, our EMS, emergency management, our health department, that they all have the tools and the training necessary for this type of thing is really, really important. And it's also important things with our county health officer and our other public safety people. So the more prepared we can be for it, the better react to it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And for pandemic.
Yes, thank you, Andrew, for the question. I'm 59 years old today, and never in my lifetime had anything like this. This is the first and only one who did it during the Spanish flu disease where we shut down the entire nation. So it has been a challenge for us. I would agree with some of the other folks that have spoken. Help our health department and our EMS department to stockpile, and some of those don't expire. Masks, rubber gloves, etc. Of course, nobody saw this coming. We're not having enough of those supplies. We just didn't know. The other thing, though, that's been kind of a good thing out of this is the advent of county commissioners. We had to meet in person. It was illegal by state statute for us to do otherwise, and now that's been lightened up. That's been types of situations, meet by virtual contact and make our votes if we are a member of those boards. And that then goes to the reason why we need another reason why we need to work hard to get rural internet back up to where it needs to be. In these kinds of situations, not just for emergencies, but also for our children. A lot of them couldn't even get schooling because they can't get high school. So anyway, those are the main things that I think we can do. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for that. All right, we will move on to the next question then. So for question 3, Dean from Spencer asked the following question. In the past, the Owen County creating a Spencer Owen County Good Department. At the end of 2019, the commissioners chose to dissolve that partnership. What are your views on trying to advantage of the strength of town and county partnerships? So that was a little long. It's all about opportunities that we have with town and county partnerships. So we will do it first.
Alrighty. Good question. I think it's very, very important as a county to make sure that all county government works together. Obviously, we've seen a lot of bickering, a lot of arguing between the local government here recently. It's very important that we all work.
Thank you. And Angela? Best of town and county partnerships. Still on mute there. There you go. You're unmuted
I'm finally
now.
unmuted. I was still trying to see what the question is.
Okay. Agreements take advantage of the strength of our county and town relationships and partnerships.
Along with the county boards, we should come together and work together. I don't know if disagreement or until the issue with the courthouse lawn came up, and then I heard the town was going to step up and allow it to happen on the streets. Well, why couldn't we have worked with the town to have maybe come up with that to help some of this not only our own county government, but with the town board as well. So to get the job done so that we can move on and enjoy our county on our free time and be able to have our festivals on the courthouse lawn. And then economical for future, you know, I think that we do need to work together. And like I said, I don't have much knowledge on this question. So
all right. Thank you for that. And then we will pivot over to Terry, and we just need to get Terry unmuted. it may ask you, Terry, if you want to accept being unmuted.
Yeah, and you guys can just mute and unmute yourselves. And
There, I got it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, most people want me muted because I'm gonna speak for the people. You know, both sides need to come together in this. You know, Owen County is what they call it. We need to make Owen County sweet again, like it was when I first moved down here. But there's too many corrupt politicians in the, you know, all around the people. You know, they're not like they used to be. We need respect.
So it's really just about the partnerships between the town, mainly the town council and the county commissioners.
Yeah.
You want?
All right. Yeah, I mean, you know, everybody's getting their pockets full. You know, the everybody's putting, you know, all the, I ain't gonna say names out there, but I ain't about getting rich. I'm trying to help the people. You know, Republican side, Democrats, you know, it's for the people. Owen County. You know, I want to work with everybody. Make Owen County sweet again.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then we'll move over. To
What
town and county
we
partnerships.
should do is the commissioners, as a commissioner, they should listen to the town and not just answer, but, you know, Owen County with any problems they have. And if you have to, as a commissioner, I would go to the town meetings if I was requested to go to their part. And that's it.
You ready? Mike?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting question. But I've known John and Dean and Mike for a long time, so I think we've always got along. Haven't really known them socially or anything, but I just know of them and been around them and to speak with them. So I think we've got a so it is important to I guess work together with the town. I've thought about that quite a bit actually, and in ways that initially it came about and things happened there. Well, you know, my first suggestion was for folks to go to the town board because the county certainly doesn't own the streets. And also, I have absolutely every intentions of doing that. Thank you.
And to wrap up this session, Tony?
Yes, so I think probably what precipitated the question, and I'm not sure if that's Dean from the town board, but that we did have an interlocal agreement from the building department between the county. And I'm not sure exactly why the commissioners chose to cancel that agreement. The one thing I am aware of though is that the funding wasn't coming out correctly. The county was paying the lion's share of that. And I'm all for interlocal agreements. I've worked well with John, Mike, and Dean. I respect all three of them. I think they're good guys. And so I think it's a good idea for us to go forward work on interlocal agreements, or even if we just come to agreements without an official document, that's fine as well. The only thing I would say, though, on future interlocal agreements is that we need to make sure that we get the funding of it right and the responsibility of each side. Because sometimes we can put agreements in place like that and actually hinder progress rather than help it if we don't get the wording right on that. One of the side items, though, on this events situation is that at least it sounds like we will get a public restroom down time. So I think sometimes you have to see the silver lining in the storm cloud, but I think that's a good thing, and I think we should go forward with that.
All right, thank you, Tony. And we'll move on to our next question. So speaking of the special events ordinance, Casey from Spencer asked, please explain what, if any, changes that you intend to make to the special events ordinance once elected to office. And we will start with Jared again. What changes, if any, would you make to the special events ordinance?
You make to the special events ordinance.
Jared, you are right now, so go ahead and unmute yourself if you would, please.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yep. There you
All
go.
right. Sorry about it all together. There's too much all print in there. I would be fine with there being a deposit, but that is community courthouse. Came together, and it's definitely hurting business. It's not good for the community. I would definitely open it back up and table that ordinance. I've made a deposit probably by the only thing I'd keep out of that. Thank you.
All right. And Angela, if you want to. Perfect. What changes, if any, would you make to the special events ordinance?
So there's a lot of things the ordinance that they implemented. One, they were really unprofessional and disrespect to everyone who lives in. However, there are certain things that I think that are in that are good, like charging and but that courthouse lawn belongs to everybody. So I would like to look at the ordinance and reevaluate it and possibly change some things.
Great. Thank you for that. And we'll go over to Terry, if you can unmute yourself. Jared, if you could go ahead and get yourself muted back again, that would be awesome.
What was the question again? I couldn't hear you. It was breaking up.
What changes, if any, would you make to the special events ordinance?
Only, like they said, the courthouse lawn is the people's courthouse. The courthouse, the lawn, the sidewalks, every piece of this county is the people's. It's all for the people. We got to make things right around this county. The people's got to make the thing right. The people that, the commissioners speak for the people.
Right. All right, thank you. And anything, Rick, if you could go ahead and unmute yourself. Rick.
What I would do is I'd work with the other commissioners and we'd look over those ordinances that they have now, and myself, all special events. It also helps all the businesses there on the square. And like Tony was saying, that they're going to be putting a public restroom in down there. But yeah, I do feel that they should open it back up for the Apple Butter Festival, the Pride Festival next year. All that stuff should be brought back into the courthouse. And as long as everything is age appropriate, I have no problem with anything going on in that courthouse lawn. I took care of that lawn for a couple years, and I never had a problem with anything being on it.
All right, thank you, Rick. And if you go ahead and mute yourself, and then Mike, you want to go ahead and unmute yourself. What changes, if any, would you make to the special event?
Well, a couple different times already this evening, and I think it's something that a lot of people are interested in, and that's changing the fines and you know, some of the penalties and those things as well, and opening the courthouse. I think that's the right times. So, and looking at those fines, I mean, a person could be fined up to $2,000. I didn't mind if he was found guilty, but if you just wanted to plead, say guilty and pay your fine, you know, how much is it? Is it $150 or is it $2,000? So there needs to be some changes there. And as far as the fees for the permit, you know, they can be waived. So what really you need, maybe $50 or so, but you know, if they can be waived, you know, what really need is there? As far as the deposit goes, I'm really in favor of that, and the walkthrough that it has established. I think maybe we should have been doing that all along. So when we do the walkthroughs, well, we can see some of the damage, if anything, that's been done, and those things can be taken care of. So again, you know, the fees and the penalties and the use of that court, even Santa, you know, at Christmas time has a right to use that courthouse, and those kids have a place to come, and we have our Christmas on the square again, and other events as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Tony, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself, then what changes?
Mentioned before, there are a few really good things in there with regard to the walkthrough and the liability insurance. The first section that I would repeal or modify, I don't really need to repeal it, just modify it. That would be section 6, number 5. The special event permit fee shall be set by the Board of Commissioners, and they've made it in this ordinance non-refundable. Is approved. That hurts smaller organizations that have a more difficult time raising money, and I don't want to see it hurt any organization that would like to use that. So I would modify that and say that a fee, and I would probably keep it a moderate fee, maybe $50 or so. But I would say that for whatever reason, that event was denied. The next thing I would modify is section 10, number A, or letter A. I did mention already as the unintended consequence of shutting down the courthouse restroom was the fact that it looks like we will get a public restroom down on the square. Personally, I'm not opposed to using the courthouse restroom. Part of the problem was the janitor, having to have a janitor on staff. But I believe we could put some type of lockbox, and whoever's responsible for that event could have cleaning materials and paper products in that lockbox out in the foyer, the ramp that goes down. And they could be responsible for cleaning that up, and it could still come out of their insurance if there was any damage or it wasn't cleaned up and taken care of properly. So we could handle that way. But that might section 13A, it's up to the discretion of the commissioners to apply waivers, and I don't think that could necessarily. I don't see how that could be applied fairly. It seems a little bit too vague for me. Either you charge a fee or you don't. I don't see. It seems to me that you get special favors from some groups. And Mike talked on section 12, number A, or letter A rather, is the fines. I think $2,500 is excessive, but the other thing I don't like about that is it's too subjective. It should be a set dollar fee for the first offense, set dollar fee for the second offense, and perhaps third offense means that I think it's too arbitrary or subjective that you have a range of $200, $500. That just seems seems a little bit crazy to me. So I would modify those sections.
All right, thank you for that. And our next question actually comes from as our community and county grows, what measures as commissioner will you take to ensure affordable housing as rent and housing costs in surrounding counties continue to skyrocket? So we'll start with Jared, if you can address specific what measures you take to keep housing affordable.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's something we would definitely have to work together with local banks to try to see what we can do. As you move into different towns in our community, the prices become a little bit cheaper. That's a good question. I'm sorry I don't have a better answer for that.
To Angela, so if you could unmute yourself. And Jared, if you could go ahead and mute yourself. Perfect. So Angela, what would you do to help keep housing costs affordable in the county?
Kind of new to this question. It's kind of, I don't know. I don't know who. Thanks for the job here in the county. The problem that I see that we have is we don't have enough housing for all the need that we have right now. How to fix that? That's something I would have to learn and work through. It is more affordable to live in Owen County than it is in surrounding counties, and I'm thankful for that. You know, for a lot of families, but how to get more? I'm not exactly sure how.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Angela. And we'll go ahead and go to Terry.
Yeah. First thing, houses are getting taxed so much for they're not even livable. They're getting assessed for $80,000, $90,000 when they're only valued at simple. Stop the taxes. Quit putting the money in the politicians' pockets. You know, there's houses out here. There's a lot of houses out here. Like I said, I'm your Huckleberry. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
You're welcome.
And we'll go to Rick. Rick, what would you do to help
It's a
keep
good
housing
question because
affordable
the
in
cost
Owen County?
of construction costs keep going up. Property values keep going up. So that is a real good question, but we need to, I don't know how you do this, but you talk to the landlords of making their housing more affordable for renters. Old housing that is not fit to live in. And that's about all I could think about doing is because I come from Wisconsin. Our housing is very high there. Our taxes are very high there. So when I moved down here, it was just unbelievable what I pay for taxes. I'm happy with what I pay for tax.
Pivot over to Mike. If you could tell us what would you do to help keep housing affordable in Owen County?
Okay, I'm kind of like the rest of them. That's a pretty difficult question. Other than working with some developers and maybe working out some tax abatements, that kind of thing. But around in my neighborhood, they're starting to build some homes out in my neighborhood, and that's a good thing. That's going to bring more people into the community, and hopefully that'll help with employment, such as like out in Boston Cooks. Those are some of the things that we really do need to look at is affordable housing. I know years ago I was with Habitat for Humanity. I did that for 6 years, and I was president of that organization here in the county for 2 years. And at that time, we built a couple of houses and partnered with them because they've got a really good program in Monroe County as well. And they've got a slogan. It's not a handout; it's a hand up. And those are things that we could really need to look at here in this community too. Is just through programs like that. So it is a good question. It's a difficult question, and like the rest of the candidates, it's something we can focus on. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. And Tony, what would you do to help keep housing affordable or make housing affordable?
Okay, great question. It is a very difficult situation or issue. I don't know if that's number one. Probably number one would be jobs. The more affordable, the more high-paying jobs that we have in the county, the more people can afford on economic development, economic growth, keeping taxes low, giving incentives for businesses to move into the county. That's the best thing we can do. Tax rates and that's set by the state, so the county commissioners don't have a lot of authority there. Some of the other issues are zoning issues, and towns primarily, and somewhat in the county, primarily is you have certain zones, and in those zones you require either multifamily dwellings or smaller dwellings that are not going to not going to fetch as high a price for rent or payments if you're actually purchasing it for the. It is a difficult question though. The county to impose rent control. I would never be in favor of that anyway. It's never worked anywhere it's ever been tried. It causes the values, the rents to skyrocket. Severely. So that's over manipulation. Those things don't ever work. The social help programs like Habitat for Humanity, we certainly can promote them. However we could do that without cost to the county. Those things are great as well. But again, the number one thing that we can do to make housing affordable is get people high-paying jobs for the county. One of the things that we can also do is help to fund work development. Program to service employment, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't pay very well. Thank you.
All right. And we will go ahead and about jobs and recruitment. So John from Spencer asked, due to the success of Pride and the recruitment of diverse employees by large employers in the counties, its welcoming environment for the LGBTQ community. As a commissioner, how would you support the ongoing efforts to market Owen County as an open-minded play? And we will send that question over to Jared to start.
Yeah, great question. So first thing I would do actually is table the ordinance. We need to make sure that we have a community that includes everybody. Our downtown has been thriving. Just continue to have that loving, warm-hearted character of a town. That is especially our downtown. So the first thing I'll do is probably table that. Because it is a negative for businesses to see that. I know Boston doesn't like seeing that. Coke doesn't like seeing that. So that's probably the first thing I would do. Another thing is just treat everybody right at the meetings, and just treat people right.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
And if you could go ahead and mute yourself. Angelo, what would you do to support the ongoing efforts to market Owen County as an open-minded, loving place to live, work, and play?
So I agree with a lot of, some of the things that Jared said. Just because you're a commissioner or you're somebody in, an elected position doesn't mean that your beliefs and are, I've lived here my whole life, and it's Sweet Owen, and it's always been a welcoming place to me. But I know it hasn't felt that way to some people. I'm glad that we're opening those lines of communication and becoming a more diverse county. And I love seeing the growth on the courthouse. I appreciate and respect Cook and Boston Scientific as being our major employment places. But like we said, I think development of better jobs and stuff, and developing out there on 43 and getting some other high-paying jobs, local businesses to promote business. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Angela. And we'll go ahead and pivot over to Terry. So Terry, what would you do to help market Owen County as an open-minded, loving place to live, work,
the day
and
I put
play?
my bid in saying I was going to run for commissioners, when I said I'll be sweet again. You know, we're all human. We all make mistakes. We live by our choices we make every day. You know, like I said, don't hate the people, hate the sin, you know. That's all I got to say about that. Have a good day.
All right. And Rick?
County is a pretty diverse county anyways, and I feel there's not a problem in Owen County with people just coming in and enjoying it and everything else. And I think the people of Owen County show a lot of people the respect and accept them for who they are. And, you know, I'm pretty open-minded on it. So respect and allowing them to be what they want to be. I think this county would be great. And that's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you. And Mike, what would you do to help to market Owen County as an open-minded, loving place to live, work, and play?
Well, I think you know, diversity in our community, I think that's really the heart of the community, and we have to embrace that. And there's, I know I've lived here all my life, and I've seen a lot of changes in this community. You know, we went from one extreme to another. I can remember, you know, as a kid when the cross was burned out on Miller's Flat, and the Ku Klux Klan was there. So, but we've come a long, long way, and we don't really need to do any sliding back. And I think we can do some of that, you know, in our meetings, especially in our commissioners' meetings, as we have things that come up. I think the more we can involve the public, whether it's through committees, you know, with other people who have interest in things, I think, you know, that kind of thing will actually promote exactly what we're trying to do, and that word will get out, just as, you know, word has gotten out now, you know, about our commissioners and how they fight with people, how they fight with each other, how they fight with the council. And we change those things is to change our mindsets and to go back to just treating people, as someone said earlier, you know, treat people the way you want to be treated. And we can do that in these meetings. We can do that with the public and having people be a part of our community and a part of our decision. When you're part of that decision, well, then you have some ownership, and that goes out, and people can hear and people can see that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Support ongoing efforts to market Owen County as an open-minded, loving place to live, work, and play.
Great, thank you for the question. The first thing I want to address is open-minded, because that means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So I don't think it's government's business to necessarily promote or denigrate one group over the other. That's not what we need to do, but any event that we have downtown, and the events ordinance did point out state statute on that, but any event that we have downtown needs to be family friendly. In other words, it needs to be age appropriate. It shouldn't have sexually explicit materials or innuendos, those kinds of things. And it shouldn't be laced with profanity and those kinds of things. That's just a standard, no matter what organization it is. That's the way it should be for every event. But as far as promoting, I would say that promoting family friendly is a very good thing for a community. The other thing is pointing out some of the strengths that we already have. For instance, the Tivoli. We're the only theater that I know that is strictly volunteer except for the director, and that is the #1 grossing single screen theater in the state, and that's a fantastic thing. Thank you to Cook for pouring all the money into to restore that. We have people that come over from Monroe County and other counties to watch movies there all the time. It's a fantastic thing. A big thing though, all of us, we have different ideas and different views. My personal views are not going to agree with 2 or 3 other people on this board's personal views, perhaps, or on this forum, I think. Maybe, but we can have calm, civil discourse. We don't have to accuse each other. We don't have to be slamming each other. We don't have to have the bicker and the infighting and the total disrespect that's been showed recently by at least one individual that's been an authority. Disagreements without having that kind of behavior with each other. You can be civil in even in your disagreements, and I think that's important for us. Is the Main Street project, what they're doing. I think that's fantastic. When I've been to the classes for economic development, one of the biggest things they talk about is quality of place. And quality of place is so important. It's important for us to have streets that look nice and sidewalks that aren't totally jutted up and tripping people, to have the trees planted, and new lights that we've done around the courthouse. Those things are fantastic, and they help a lot to bring economic activity down to our community. And the last thing we've all talked about, a lot, everybody here agrees, is that we need to have that courthouse area, at least the lawn, open for special events. And again, I'm not tearing down the commissioners currently. I mean, I want to make sure that we're fair to them. That is not, they have not forbidden any events or restricted any events. There's just some things in the ordinance that I think we need to modify. It doesn't mean that we don't need an ordinance. It doesn't mean that we don't need deposits and walkthroughs. Those are good things. And like I said, the family friendly standards, those need to be in place. We just need to modify some of those. So quality of place, family friendly, promote our strengths like the Tivoli and the beautiful scenery and the leave and then having positive civil discourse. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So given where we're at with our time right now, we're going to go ahead and wrap up that question and answer section for this evening's forum. So now I'm going to go ahead and give each the opportunity to make a closing statement. Again, we're getting close to the end here, so I would ask each candidate, please try to be for 60 seconds or less. Sorry, I got choked up about that. And we'll go ahead and do the same order that we've been doing the questions here. So
Yeah, thank you. My name is Jared Bluewell. Why I'm running is because I think it's time for a change. I'm here to be a breath of fresh air. It's time to start treating people right and start respecting people again. One of the things I want to do here is I'm going to start the You're My Boy Blue campaign. It's going to be about giving back to the community, helping out people in need. This money, and just show how big of a heart our community has. After the last 4 years, I think I'm the right person for the job, and I think I can get us back to where I think we should be. Thank you.
and Angela. Angela, you're on mute. Unmute
It didn't click. Okay, so I just want to say thank you for allowing each of us candidates to there are a few things that I want to do as the new commissioner for District 2. I would want to look into some ditching issues at the highway department. I think they're being overlooked and not doing enough of that. If we're improving all these roads, and they have a really good plan, and I've seen it and I've heard it in meetings. But I think some ditching needs to be done, or it's a waste of time to redo the roads. I think some of the things that agree are not required to be unless they are on the agenda. You know, they can do a bi-weekly update through email to all the commissioners to let them know how their office is going, and if the commissioners need further information, they can ask to attend. I don't think that it's necessary that the elected officials are there at every meeting in the community in the county, but I don't think it's necessary, and sometimes there's other pressing things in the departments that need to be done. Readdressing the ordinance is one of my main priorities. Bringing in and developing State Road 43. I mentioned it earlier, and I failed to mention it. I ran the recycle department for a little while before they shut it down, and still don't understand that. So I would like to see that it hurt our community, I think, to close that. There was a lot of people, myself included, that want to help our environment, and we give them no outlet here in Owen County. So that is something to need. I want to be more open and transparent, respectful of other people's views. Maybe not mine, but I want to give you an opportunity to speak. I want to be the voice for all the people in the community, not my opinion. I like to say, Mike, I wish we weren't running for the thing. I'd love to work with you. You and I have a lot of some of the same ideas and views. I think all the candidates answered well to the questions, and I appreciate them being here. And that's all I have. Vote for Frank for your commissioner or district 2.
All right. Thank you. And we'll go to Terry.
Yep. Like I said, thank you guys for the opportunity to speak with you. You know, a lot of people read my mind. A lot of these sites out here on Facebook want to block you for trying to speak. You know, I'm no politician by no means, but I am a people for the people. You know, I will speak for you. You might not like what a lot of people, these people up here running for commissioner and other commissioners might not like, but I'll speak for you. I speak the truth, only but the truth. For the job, because I will get things done right. You can ask all my old employers. The Owen County Highway, they said they wish they had 20, 30 guys like me. The rest of them, you got all these guys getting paid and they're sitting on their ass. You know, I'm the one that did a good job at what I do. So, like I said, I'm your huckleberry no matter what. I'll speak for you. I'll do the job. You guys have a good day. God bless all.
Thank you, Terry. And Rick, we'll go ahead and go over to you.
Okay, like I said before, I'm not really from here. I'm from Wisconsin, but now Owen County, I made Owen County my home. I spent 22 years in the military, so, and I had to work with a budget, and I was a shop chief, and I had 35 people working for me, so I know what it's like to have a bunch of people underneath you working. Work with law enforcement, work on getting a new jail, because I know what that jail's like. I had to repair it. It is not in very good condition right now. I'd like to see a drug rehab brought to the jail, where they have a counselor come in once a week and talk to the people. And with the veterans and that, I'd work with the Veterans Service Office, being a veteran myself. And I just, you know, I solved a lot of problems when I was in the military, and right now I work for and a lot of people that see on here probably know me from when I worked on Spencer Hardware and Clay City Hardware. But I'd like to get a chance, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And Mike?
Right. My closing is going to be a little bit close. Everybody's already heard some of the things that I'd like to do as commissioner. So right now, I'd like to just close by saying thanks to everyone who's on the front line during this pandemic. Just can't say thank you enough to all those people that are serving in those positions. And you know, maybe someday, whether I'm elected commissioner or not, you know, we can have a public gathering so we can express our appreciation to those people who have helped and remember those people who have died during this. And you know, I can't think of a better place to have that public gathering than right on our courthouse lawn. So I look forward to that day, and I'd appreciate everyone's support. Have a great evening. Thank you all.
All right. Thank you. And Tony, last closing statement for this evening.
Great. Again, I'm Tony Volker. Appreciate this opportunity to share a little bit about myself and some of my ideas for the county. Being a commissioner, it's the county executive. It takes creativity and interest. It takes also, and I think I bring all of those to the table. I am self-employed, so I can work around the schedule because it does take a lot of hours. Speaking from experience, to be a commissioner, and I appreciate that. On a personal level, I'm 59 years old today. I am a born-again Christian. I'm not the only Christian running, but I'm sure I'm probably the only one who gave their heart to Jesus. Submarine. So that is a little bit unique. I am a veteran, obviously, having served on submarines, 2 different nuclear-powered submarines. I also am a small business owner, as I mentioned, and so I have a vested interest in economic growth, but not just for my business. I operate in a lot of counties, but also because what I mentioned before, our incomes or job availability increase in our county, so that if our young people don't want to leave, they don't have to. They can get a good quality, high-paying job and stay in Owen County. Development Council, and I think it goes a long way to say that we were 79th when I took office in income for the state, and we're now in the top 20. That's difficult for a small rural county, but I believe we can do it. I believe we can still continue to promote the things that we need to promote, and amongst one another, even when we disagree. And certainly we will disagree on things. Again, I believe we should have events open for all of our citizens. There's not attend the event, but I don't want to shut down any one group, because I would have to shut down all of the groups, and I don't think that's right. Everybody needs an opportunity to have their event. And lastly, I would just like to say that I'm open for questions. You can go to my Facebook page. My phone number is posted there. I would be glad to answer any questions you have. I've saved, when I was commissioner before, I helped save the county several $100,000 and brought, at least largely responsible for bringing in several million as far as the roads are concerned. We still have a long way to go, but I've got a lot of ideas I would like to implement, and I would certainly appreciate your support. Thank you. God bless everybody.
All right. Thank you very much. So I'd candidates who are participating in tonight's forum. I know this has been an evolving opportunity here, and I appreciate that you were willing to give it a try here, being our first ever virtual event, a virtual event of this type at least. So I know we had a few hiccups there, but I absolutely believe from what I've heard tonight that we've helped to inform a lot of Owen County voters out there who are either watching us now, who are going to be watching us on the recording when it gets posted online in the next couple of days. So thank you very much to all of the candidates who participated this evening. I'd also like to thank our audience. So, it's a really big deal to have your participation here. We're doing it for you to create this opportunity, and hopefully you feel better informed after having had this opportunity this evening.
Just wanted to say on behalf of myself and all of the audience members, thank you very much for putting this together and being so thoughtful. So just thank you very much to you and Spencer Pride for doing this. Much appreciated.
No problem. Our pleasure. This has been a really evening to be informative. So I want to invite participants to complete our feedback form, which is online, and the link is here. This page, so it's the Commissioner's Forum event page on Facebook. You can find it there. And if you can't find it in either of those locations, I'll get my head out of the way a little bit. Text me at jonathan@spencerpride.org, and I can share that link with you directly. But ever since we began our festival 14 years ago, we have completed or had our attendees complete feedback forms for us, and I can absolutely commit to you that it influences very strongly what we do in future events. We really listen to what people are interested you're missing altogether, and you don't want us to change at all. So this is your opportunity to be able to provide us that feedback, and we appreciate you doing so. We anticipate having at least one more event to help continue to inform our voters here this fall. So what we're most likely looking at is a very civil debate format for the final candidate. About that as closer to the general election in November. And hopefully then we'll be able to do that both in person again, as well as continue on behalf of everyone with Spencer Pride for all those who participated tonight. And I wish you all a fantastic evening. Thank you.